Sir, Stitch, a small, logic-defying blue alien from outer fucking space, needs a heterosexual romance. Okay, but we've got to know she's female, do you understand? She needs long antennae, like long hair, mascara, smooth chest that sticks out a little more because we need to be reminded that she's still got titties even though she's a tiny fucking alien. Should we make her pink, sir? Ricky, you goddamn genius. Here are my keys, go to my house and fuck my wife. I'd like to add a quick disclaimer that so far, all 3 people who have claimed to have designed Angel in a competition when they were children have been thoroughly debunked. It's actually a really interesting rabbit hole, especially because they all kept trying to add their name to Angel's page on the Lilo and Stitch wiki and then deleting the other people. Check it out. I promise I'm not making fun of any children in this video, only capitalism. Hello, my lovelies. Let me tell you a story. I love Lilo and Stitch. Chris Sanders, in general, is a phenomenally talented character designer, and there are very few things in this world I would not give for a print version of the original book he used to pitch his concept, Lilo and Stitch, a love story of a girl and what she thinks is a dog. But capitalism marches on, even, ironically, for a franchise that frequently highlights or highlighted the colonial attitudes that still exist today within Hawaii, with many treating its land and inhabitants as disposable and a side attraction. There was even a deleted scene in the original film that highlighted this, resulting in Lilo getting revenge by convincing the tourists that a tsunami was coming. You ever wonder why Lilo takes so many pictures of tourists? Well, that's because they've been doing it to her entire life, and she thinks it's normal. But I digress. My main point is, Lilo and Stitch was, ironically, franchised hard, and even got its own beloved TV series, one I admit I actually really loved and watched as a child. On a less serious note, the experiment designs in this series are generally great. As I said before, Chris Sanders and his team of designers do a bang-up job. They have a very clear do's and don'ts with their design language, able to give the experiments a massive variety of body types, while still adhering to some core design principles. In particular, their rendering of eyes, antennae, teeth, mouths, noses, and hands. If a character has a massive hammer for a head, for example, then the rest of his design adheres strongly to these other design principles to compensate for being so off-model. That is what makes some of the more, for want of a better term, merchandisey designs all the more egregious. And I hate to say it, but Angel has always been a real berserk button for me in terms of character design. She is a pink, quote-unquote sexy, girl version of Stitch, with her ability being a seductive siren song that enthralls those who hear it and turns them evil.
Cringe. There's no other word for it. This makes me cringe. It's embarrassing.
Everything about Angel, unfortunately, just reeks of corporate meddling. And if it was all down to Chris, I'm not mad, just very disappointed. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit mad. But Angel's design is part of a bigger problem outside of the obvious gender stereotypes and egregious heteronormativity. Stitch is, especially in the first 2 films, explicitly child-coded. He and Lilo share a bond most akin to a brother and sister, and shots of the family frequently frame them as the kids. Heck, Stitch is frequently referred to as a baby and framed as the baby of the family. Now, bring in his interactions with Angel. I'm aware I'm reading too much into this, but I can't help but feel they really dropped the ball not just from a visual perspective, but a storytelling perspective. Either Angel is meant to be coded as a mentally older character, in which case her manipulation, flirting, and relationship with Stitch is exceptionally inappropriate. The alternative is that they are both child-coded, in which case the showrunners are sexualizing a child and a relationship between 2 children. This isn't to say Angel is irredeemable or even that I hate her. I actually quite like her. She's pretty interesting as a character, and I dare say goes through a lot more growth than most other experiments on the show. But they need to level out their design language with her, instead of just making her a pink Stitch because that's the girl colour. So in my redesign here, I have decided to basically dial her gremlin energy all the way up to 11. In this version, Stitch doesn't have a crush on her because she tames him or makes sultry eyes at him. It's because she's an agent of chaos and mischief. Her seductive siren song has been replaced by a joyous Dionysian screech that incites people to start rioting and causing trouble. I just like the idea of her triumphantly punching the air and screaming atop a burning car, followed by people just kind of like flipping tables and wrestling and starting fires, and having a grand old time doing it too. Keep it PG-13. I tried to lean more into Chris Sanders' staples, such as pudgy fat folds, rounded teeth, and wrinkled snouts. I drew reference from several other experiments, and also incorporated a fuzzy tail that is more lizard or gecko inspired in shape, but still just as fluffy. And I still decided to keep her pink. If the Barbie movie has taught our society anything, it should be that pink looks good on anyone. There's nothing inherently wrong with embracing strong, stereotypically feminine aesthetics, as long as they come from the right place and are being done for the right reasons. Perhaps Angel's character development could still be one of quote-unquote evil to goodness, but through the lens of a chaos lover at heart, Stitch, getting a hilarious taste of his own medicine and having to rein her in. Angel is reframed less as a sexist, naughty influence, and instead excitable, curious, mischievous, and affectionate and impulsive. She just wants everyone to join in and have fun, she just doesn't understand where the fun stops. I like to imagine that over time she learns to embrace her impulsiveness and proclivity for physical affection, but in a more rounded way. While she may occasionally hug someone too hard or pick flowers that don't belong to her as a gift, her heart will, I hope, eventually be in the right place. To me, Stitch needed less of a femme fatale love interest and more of a cute childhood crush and playmate. Someone who is strong enough to play wrestle and frolic as an equal.
Something that won't die. Something sturdy, you know?
Like a lobster.
And Angel deserves to be her own person and not some weird girlified horror show genetically engineered by a bunch of corporate executives to sell plush toys and stationery. Our girl Angel deserves better. I hope you enjoyed this rant about character design as well as my humble redesign of Angel here. What would you have done differently? Do you like Angel's design as it is? Art is subjective, to be fair. I think there are very few wrong answers here, so don't be afraid to let me know in the comments below. On the screen now is some beautiful art done as part of last month's art challenge over on the Ritfinch Discord, a wasted concept, the inspiration for this video. If you'd like to join us, consider supporting me on Patreon to join all of these lovely folks at the end of the video and get behind the scenes peeks and polls. While it's easy to critique older shows, even ones we love, I think it's also important to indulge, so this is your reminder to take a moment this week and rewatch a comfort cartoon from your childhood. And as another reminder, it really helps the channel an awful lot if you leave a like or comment if you have the time. And speaking of time, I will hopefully see all of you next time.